Okay, so in this video here, we're given this problem and we're asked to find the average value of y for the part of the curve y equals 3x minus x squared, which is in the first quadrant. So notice they're not giving us an interval. They're giving us this this function here, and they're also giving us this restriction that we're only allowed to be in the first quadrant. And from there, we have to figure out what our limits will be. So if we look at the graph of y equals 3x minus x squared, I can think about y. If I factor out an x, I will get x equals 3 minus x. And I can think about the zeros of this function. The zeros of this function are going to happen when x equals 0 or when x equals 3. So again, that's going to give me an idea of what my graph will kind of look like. So it'll look like this. I'm only going to sketch again the first quadrant here. So there's my x-axis and here's my y. And since I have a 0 at x equals 0, I know that I'm going to be about right there. And let's just say 1, 2, 3. And I know my other 0 is going to be there. Furthermore, I notice that this is a negative x squared, so that means that my function is going to be negative, and it's x squared, so it's a parabola. So that means that my parabola will be opening up in a downward fashion. So it looks like I will have some function that maybe does something like that. And again, it'll keep going in this direction, and the same thing over here. But we're only interested in the first quadrant. So this is the area that we are looking at, and we can clearly see that our limits are restricted. We're restricted from 0 to 3. So we can now start working out this problem, and so what we are asked again to find is the average value of y. So I'm going to write here that the y, and again I'm just going to put a little average for the average value of y. We have to remember the formula for the average value. Well, that is simply the integral from a to b of our function f of x dx, and then we divide by b minus a. Well, it looks like here, this right here is our a, and it looks like this right here is our b. And our function is given by 3x minus x squared. So we have everything we need. We just need to plug in and evaluate. So again, we have the y, the average value of y, is going to equal the integral, again from 0 to 3. And I'm going to write my function out here. So I'm going to write 3x minus x squared, and we have dx. And this is all divided by 3 minus 0. So again, it looks like I have to evaluate this integral, and this shouldn't be too hard to do. Hopefully you've had some practice by now with the fundamental theorem of calculus. So again, cleaning this up just a tad bit more, the antiderivative of 3x, we're going to get, let's see, we'll have 3 over 2 x squared minus, and now the antiderivative here, we will get a 1/3 x cubed. And remember, this is all divided by 3 minus 0, which is 3. However, keep in mind that we cannot forget to evaluate this integral. We cannot forget to evaluate this integral from 0 to 3. Now I'm going to leave it to you to go ahead and plug in the limits. So just remember that you're going to plug in this value first and you evaluate it, and then you plug in the second value, the lower limit I should say, and then you subtract and get the difference. Now I'm going to leave that to you to do the arithmetic, and if you do all the work, you should get an answer of 3 over 2. So the average y value for the part of the curve that's in the first quadrant is 3 over 2.